Yehuda, what are your project plans?
So we want to look at...
We, who is you? We.
Me.
Kristen and I, sorry.
Kristen and Yehuda. Okay, and Y. Like E and Y.
So we want to look at the PCAOB inspections of the smaller firms, the triennial firms, the ones that get clean reports, so no deficiencies. We want to see what they do the year following the clean report, if they do less
So PCAOB review of what?
inspections of the firms with less than 100 clients.
How are you going to do this?
Methodology?
No, what are you going to do? How are you going? What data are you going to use? What
We're
are
going to
you?
use the PCAOB inspection data.
Okay, is that available?
It's on the website. I'm hoping that we can get it from somewhere other than the PDFs, but if not the PDFs, it is.
Okay, who is doing PDF conversions? Daisy has done PDF conversions, and she has a tool that we bought if you needed to use it, but that's not ideal.
No, it's not.
Yeah, I actually never seen that data. Have you had a chance to go and have a look at it and see what's in there?
So on the PCAOB website, it's the PDF of the reports.
Uh-huh.
So they all kind of use the same standard layout, but I don't think that the data is in any database online.
Have you ever looked at Audit Analytics? Maybe they have it in there.
I don't think they do.
Both
They
check.
don't have it?
No, that was, like, we really liked the idea of looking into something related to the PCOB since we found that interesting. But I think the date, like, we like this topic idea, but we're concerned about getting the data because we did do a preliminary look. Audit Analytics doesn't have it, so I guess we have to see maybe through the other papers what they did, but
There has been
there's several papers about PCOB inspections.
Yeah,
we're
but not
just-
about the small firms, is there?
Yes, but not too many. I think there were, when I looked for the triennial firms, in a quick search, I saw like 8 results for,
8 papers.
yeah, I mean,
Oh.
I'm sure there's more, but,
I can't even remember one.
really? There's one that we mentioned in our proposal that specifically looks at something similar to what we want to do, but they focus on the firms with the deficiencies, not the clean report firms.
Okay, and why do you want to look at the clean reports?
I guess we were thinking, because it's only a triennial inspection, we're kind of interested in sort of the regulatory implications, and we want to see if these firms that have this clean report, they don't anticipate to be inspected again with in the following year. So, and because they don't feel as though they're being watched because they got that clean report last year, we wonder if this might change their behavior. Maybe they are a little less conservative. We just need to come up with what measure of audit quality we'd want to use to test that.
Ingenious. That's actually, the reasoning is nice. Is that meaning, if there is no policeman in your back for 2 years, you're going to behave differently
Yes.
than if every year you could be inspected.
Yeah, so, and that would
Do you know if the larger firms that can be inspected every year,
Mhm.
they have repeat inspections for the same firm?
well, same firm or
Same
same
engagement?
same engagements?
Same engagement.
Same.
That data is not available.
Yeah, that's
In
not-
fact, one of the papers that was by Ayabdia.
Yeah.
So it's SRN, but he has a unique data set.
Yeah, because
proprietary
he's
data set.
inside, he's in
Yeah.
the economic research group.
Right, so the specific engagements are not publicly available. All you can see are the number of deficiencies in the public report, not specific firm data. Yeah, we had some other ideas, but they all depended on that
The
data.
firm
and that's
data,
not
yeah.
available. So.
And the inspection of the smaller firms is also only about the firm deficiencies,
Not the
Right.
the
particular
client.
engagements.
Yeah.
Right.
But we were curious, I mean, I think it'd be easier to see too, because if they have less clients, then it's probably like the smaller audit firm, I think it would come out more if their overall procedures are less conservative. It'd be easier maybe to see that than in a larger firm where they have hundreds of clients. So it kind of diffuses whatever they're
So
doing.
remind me, what is well, I used to know this, I can't remember at this moment. What is the breakdown? The large firms get inspected every year,
Mhm.
and how do the reports look? The reports and the PCOB website are kind of word-based reports? or
Mostly
what?
words, yeah. A lot of words. Like the KPMG US one was 88 pages.
And you guys are going to do some text mining on it?
Well, I'm hoping the smaller firms will probably be less, but maybe, I don't know. I mean, I've never done text mining before, but I'm open to learning it.
Well, we have two experts
Yeah.
here sitting in front.
I mean, what we really just, I think all we need for the data is whether or not the list of the firms that were inspected, the small triennial firms, and whether or not there was a deficiency, like a yes/no answer. But I don't know how we would find that within the PDFs, but maybe that's easier than, like, we don't really care what the deficiency was. We
But
just
they always find deficiencies, correct?
not for the large firms, yes. There was a study that said all the 100+ clients, there's deficiencies every year for all of them. But there was
What do they do? They do 600 evaluations, isn't it, of engagements, divided among the 4. Well, I can't remember the numbers. I think it's 600.
Yeah, I'm not sure for the large, but for the less than 100, the triennial inspected firms, there is a sample of inspected firms that have clean reports, but it's only within these smaller firms that get these clean reports. So we found that interesting too.
I think this is going to be very interesting. That's a good idea. I hope you. And so we are going to have 2 experts in text mining here. How many of
Maybe
the
we can
smaller
get some
firms
help.
get investigated? I know that around 700 firms perform audits of public companies. Of those 700, 4 are big. And then maybe another 4 or 5 are semi-big, 1/10 of the bigs. And then I don't know much more about what the PCOB and the small ones inspections are. This is a very interesting idea. So what's going to be your a priori hypothesis? Are you going to compare them with the big ones? So you're going to just do a time series, see how it changed? You're going to do, what do you have in mind? If you don't have anything in mind, that's a good moment to discuss it.
I guess originally we were thinking of focusing, because the client base of the larger firms is substantially different, so I would think we'd want to focus on comparing clean reports versus deficient within the triennial group, the smaller set, and see what types
Okay,
of...
so you're not only staying with the clean reports.
Well,
you're
I think
also-
it would be interesting just to compare against peer firms, which would be either, and I don't know, I guess we still need to decide whether we want to look into comparing the clean versus peer firms that weren't inspected, or versus those that were inspected with deficiencies. I guess there's 3 groups, but
you
I
might
don't.
be able to guess who the clients are. Meaning who
Yeah,
audits
'cause they might
America,
not have that many
audit
clients.
analytics,
Yeah.
smaller firms, they don't have a lot of clients, maybe some of the textual material will reveal that. Not that you necessarily want to do that, but you know, if you're going to compare deficient versus not the deficient, I bet you they find lots of deficiencies in all of the audits. I remember reading a large KPMG report of deficiencies. They found a lot of deficiencies.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
KPMG got
Cream.
public criticism. Yeah, they got. They didn't respond well.
Yeah, but you know, a lot of those deficiencies, if you read those deficiencies, I haven't done this recently, but in the past, You really don't think it's deficiencies. I certainly didn't think it's like an anachronistic rule that they didn't respect or something like that. I think this would be interesting. It's a good idea. Let's in a couple of weeks you give us an update on how you're doing on this. Who is the team here with you?
Myself.
Oh, me and myself.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
So I want to do a survey about auditors' attitude to the new generation of visualization tools, and also the adoption and the acceptance of those new visualization tools like Tableau, like
Can you
something.
go a little bit slower? I can't write this fast.
Oh, sorry.
Auditor reaction to the new generation of visualization tools. How are you going to do that?
Like a survey, you interview with those auditors with some questions like, what kind of the visualization tool you are using right now, and what's the problem with those tools, or what's the good part of those with those tools, and also ask them what kind of the features you expect in the future you want get from those new tools, and also like some expectation from the auditors for the visualization tools specific function for the audit procedures, something like that.
And how are you going to find auditors? I'm going to find auditors for you? Yes.
Yeah, I hope so.
Well, I was this morning on the phone with Al Anderson, who is the executive director of Radar, and we are talking exactly about a questionnaire for the auditors. So maybe you can help me with that questionnaire,
Yeah, sure.
and we can change a little bit what you're doing.
Okay.
Good. Okay. Yeah, that fits in Radar very well. So that's why you're thinking about it, correct?
Yeah.
That's very good. This is the team, correct?
Yeah.
And so, okay. So it's Edward and Andrea. So what are you guys doing?
So we want to develop a framework to measure the operating effectiveness of internal controls.
Sorry about the orange, I had to use another color. So how are you going to do that?
We're still thinking of that, but we may employ some machine learning methods or perhaps statistic regression. But I think the core idea or the most important part, in my opinion, would be to classify what would be a pass or a fail for a specific process.
So tell me what would be like your first steps. You're going to find data somewhere. This is going to be a pass and fail. This is going to be a theoretical study. What are you thinking of doing?
We're hoping to use data, client data, hopefully from the car lab.
Uh-huh. But CarLab has data on insurance, credit cards, purchase to pay, but it doesn't have, I don't remember anything we have that is,
About a hospital,
huh?
one kind of a hospital.
The
Yeah,
data
this
from
pa-
this
yeah,
study?
Yeah, these papers, 2014.
No, you want to do continued equations.
Not necessarily.
Yeah. But I think the data can be used in our project.
But I love the idea of you doing continued equations.
Uh,
Who is going to discuss the paper today, the continued equations? Who was in charge, Chow, for doing this paper, the Kogan, Alice, Vasarhelyi, and Wu paper? You are?
Yeah.
Oh, good. I want to have a good discussion of that. But there were two people, or he's the only one.
I think there are two.
Who is the other one? Look it up. Yeah, this will be good talking about this. I actually like a lot this you do continued equation. I think it's a real good
We can close that. Imagine a decision tree, and each node have an equation, and use the automatically something the idea like this seminar.
I think you should sit down with Professor Kogan and me and talk a little bit about this. This is. I have been harassing Alex that I want to restart continuity equations. I think that there is a major publication behind it.
I'm very excited about this.
Yeah, I think it's, yeah. You know, it took us 10 years and 3 months to publish it.
That is great. Great. Especially the methodology.
But because my co-author is stubborn and didn't let me cut the paper in two, I would have published it in 3 years. Yeah. My co-author. We are now doing another paper, but this time he's not being stubborn. He let me cut it in two. The paper Denise that we actually talked a little bit, the paper with Denise is basically we have to pull out the whole literature review, that whole part of, you know, there are 93 pages paper, and take all the tabulation out, and basically keep the framework and etc. And I think that will be very publishable. I don't even expect 3 years, expect year and a half to get it in, because the editor wants it, so it's easy. But I have been telling Alex we should go back to do continuity equations. And now, continuity equations we typically did with data, not with numeric data, not with controls. So I'm very curious, how would you do continuity equation with controls? Now saying that, I can't think about it. Good, this is going to be fun. I get excited about this. So you guys are going to be 2 weeks without me. You can email me, and when you come back, you're going to have news for me, correct? Exciting news, new papers. Okay, you have a big comparison to have. One of the papers of the last class is going to be now submitted to the audit journal or to the accounting review. They found a little corner of the literature that no one had done anything. So maybe you guys can do the same. Get a publication out of this. What are you going to do?
Yeah, my name is Felicia and me.
Okay, she's sick today.
Okay, so basically we are trying to extending my last summer research project about the contract tax management. So the idea is that auditors review contracts during the planning and post-substantive test, and but they only look at several pages in the contract to see whether there's sufficient information for them to generate audit evidence. Then in this project, what I'm trying to do is first I identify the similar contracts. For example, like the insurance contract, which is generated. This type of contract is generated by filling in the information to a predefined template. So this project tries to extract this filled in information, and then in this way the auditors can perform a whole population test on the similar contracts. And also with the template part, we can check the similar contracts against the template to see if there's any manipulation or tampering of the contract body.
Do you recognize this problem, Kristen?
Yeah, we discussed a
But do you
little bit.
recognize it from your practice? Or you, and who else was an auditor here in practice? Just the two of you. Do you recognize this problem?
In terms of contracts?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I think anything, like we were discussing, I think it would be very interesting to put something together like that could help in that type of audit area.
Yeah,
It's
I
heavy
remember-
hitting audit areas too.
I remember at
Contracts.
AT&T, they had these contracts with vendors. So they, you go to a store and they sell AT&T phones and they sell service. and they had around 10,000 of these or more. And so that it is practically impossible to look at all of them. And after Ian started this project, we talked with one of the big four, and they claimed that they developed an artificial intelligence tool that can compare contacts. So don't be sad, don't say that they already did your work. I don't believe that it really does it very well, and there's plenty of research to be done there, so don't look sad. Okay?
But they don't have a publication yet.
No, they don't have publication. When I asked them if I could see, they said no. Which usually doesn't mean this is proprietary private. First means it doesn't work very well when people say that.
Can you share the name of the firm?
But if I say it started with a K or with a D or with a D, you would know it is, so I can't do that. Yeah. But actually, I'm going to ask who was in the call, Kevin, and see if we can do that. Tell you. But yes, I'm very interested on this problem. Gee, but this semester is going to be good. How about the dynamic duo there? What should I say? X and K, or I say P and D? X and K or P and D? P and D? Okay. What are you guys going to do?
We haven't actually decided which one we should do, but we have potential two topics. So the first one is like we try to analyze the effects of analysis.
I want her to be able to hear what you're saying. So I'm going to do what I do with Yui. I'm going to say, until I hear you very well, I don't hear very well anyway, I am not going to understand what you're saying.
So we were trying to understand the effects of financial analysts on the audit fee. We were trying to say that the monitoring and information reducing role of the analysts may potentially reduce the costs.
Financial analyst versus audit fee.
Yes.
There's a lot of literature in audit fee. I don't know if anyone has done something with financial analysts.
We have searched a little, like there's no publication or anything on the SSRN, but
Look at L.D. Brown, Larry Brown.
okay.
Somehow I had the impression he done something like that. I'm not sure, but he retired a couple of years ago, but he is very fully published a lot.
Another idea is that we want to see if auditing can help the firms to decrease the cost of borrowing. To be more specific, like before a firm want to borrow some money from public, whether those firms will improve the external auditing monitoring and improve the independence of auditing committee, so that when they borrow money, they can have lower interest rate. So we want to see whether
You're thinking of audit committees. I was getting interested on this because I was thinking that what we're going to do is kind of look at financial statements, figure out some kind of proxy of cost of borrowing, and then have a look at who the auditors are and see, for example, there's a lot of literature about the big four having better audit quality than the small ones, and see if you can kind of just by paired comparison come up with a proxy for with a method that compare. I'm not totally sure if it can be done, but it seems likely that you can do it. Is big four, non-big four, and you would expect that if the audit is better, the cost of borrowing is smaller.
Yeah.
And so we just kind of divide it, big four versus non-big four, because that's kind of a pretty established literature that you have a big four, your audit quality is better. And so if the audit quality is better, the cost of borrowing should be lower. Is that?
Yeah. And
But audit committees, I don't know how would you do that. Tell me.
I have two ideas.
Okay.
No. It's just to measure whether the auditing committee will be improved or not. We could see whether the independence level of the committee is improved. The second idea is to see whether they will have more meetings in the committee to discuss.
I think the basic question is good. I think you're going to have a lot of difficulty finding any proxy for independence of committee. What do you think?
I like the Big Four versus non-Big Four argument better than the audit committee.
Yeah, that's-
Only because even when I'm thinking of like people that I know who work in companies who maybe don't know a lot about auditing and they're in smaller firms, there's this huge reputation that comes with the Big Four. And I would think that maybe these smaller firms looking for funding, it might be interesting to see that whether they choose a Big Four to reduce their cost of capital, because I just think that that's the first thought that comes into mind if a firm is trying to signal. I just know from talking to a lot of people in business, they're aware of the Big Four, but I don't think they're very concerned with the audit committee. I think that's in terms of how a firm would behave and to
So your intuition
signal.
is the same of mine. It's more difficult to measure independence of an audit committee than is if the auditors are Big Four or non-Big Four.
Actually, I got the idea from the Big Four, non-Big Four, and the cost of capital.
Yeah. There is already a paper like that?
Actually, we think we want to do Big Four, non-Big Four, and the internal auditing committee. Like we want to see the outside auditors and the inside auditors and their effort to help the firms to decrease the cost of capital.
How are you going to get any data from internal audit?
I have seen some papers, but they have different measures of the independence level of committee, but we didn't discuss which one we should use.
I think you're going to have difficulty getting measures of internal audit independence. First, internal auditors are not supposed to be independent. They work for the firm. Second, the proxies for that are very difficult. I think the internal audit, external working Big Four, non-Big Four is easier. Is easier. But think about it. If you can come up with I don't like in general any measurement, but this is my own bias. I don't like in general any measurements of boards of directors. I had a student, and Jill Giles, and she did a dissertation looking at independence of auditors. And she had 20 hypotheses, and at 5%, she proved one. So it's just, I think with boards, and this is just my personal bias, with boards it's all the unmeasurable things that matter. Who knows who? If I am a manager of a company, I'm being typical, but I'm going to say it anyway. If I'm manager of a company, I really would like to have a board member that's compliant. Okay, put a board member that's not going to cause me any problems. Okay, so the last thing I want is a very independent board member. And so it's very difficult. And so do they play golf together? Were they in a job before? And for each relationship, the basic one is the neighbor. The other one is totally unqualified, but is getting this big salary for being in the board. Therefore, he's not going to cause any problems. So I find boards very difficult, and the results are never that good. Okay, so but you can try it. I don't oppose it. It's just difficult to measure. With Big Four against not Big Four, maybe you can ask Kristen for some information about which firms were qualified worse in the PCOB reports and take them as the bad ones or whatever. But that's a measurable proxy. You have to think about what you can measure. Now, tell me a little bit more about what you were thinking.
So like the financial analysts, they can monitor the firm and they can reduce the information asymmetry. I think these two parts, they can reduce the efforts of the auditors to some degree. So we were thinking maybe auditors, they will react like reducing the audit fee. That's the intuition.
You think a financial analyst is
The more-
like an auditor?
It's like they disseminate the.
Yeah, of course he's like an auditor. A financial analyst is trying to discover things about the firm and analyze, and if the Enron problem was basically an analyst firm that basically said that there is something very wrong with this. It was, I think it's called Inside Wall Street, Outside Wall Street, and the name of the firm. There's a case on it, and etc. So yeah, financial analysts examine firms very carefully, and sometimes they find anomalies. So it's a little bit like an auditor. It's not a function of principal and agent because they don't get paid. In one sense, they are more independent. Now, there are dependencies too. The dependencies are that financial analysts follow firms, and there has been a lot of manipulation of financial analysts. You basically block out the financial analysts from information, and then they can't follow you. And so there's a lot of discussion about that. So analysis is an interesting topic. Yeah.
And I think financial analyst can only be a complementary to if you are going to use them as audit evidence, because with an audit report you can say, I'm confident that this company is clean of material misstatement. But if you say 1,000 financial analysts haven't found anything on the company, even with this 1,000 clean report, you cannot say the company's financial statement.
Yeah. A financial analysis is very different from an auditor. But if you are doing total due diligence on a firm, think you're buying it and etc., you look what the analysts are saying about it. Now, no firm is followed by 1,000 analysts. A large majority of firms are followed by none, and then there are some followed by one, some followed by two, and etc., etc. The coverage is not as ubiquitous as you would think. Actually, the number, I don't remember how many are not followed, but I remember there is a substantive number of them that are not followed. But looking at that literature is interesting. So I like both of the projects. It's just, I think the independence of a committee is very difficult to measure. But if you find a good proxy for it, would be interesting. So you guys had a chance to think about what you're going to do? Jane and Chin?
We are going to do the group project
A
with.
little bit louder, Jane, I can't hear you. I think I'm going to do the same thing as...
Well, we are going to do the data visualization project.
Yes, did you have a chance to talk to them or not yet? Chao, how is that going?
Not yet. They said they want to have a call next week, but we haven't settled down the time. I think they were not around from last week until this Wednesday, so I'm looking for their reply.
So you're setting up a date with them, is that what it is?
They haven't sent the data.
They haven't, but they did send me an email asking me if I could be it, but I'm traveling, so you guys have to do it without me. And what I remember, they sent some attachments. I didn't. The attachments were basically a data dictionary. There was no data in that, was it?
No. Yes.
There was data in it? No, he said that he was going to send us some data and he didn't. So plague him, send him another email, say that we really want to start this project. I have another alternative for you to start if he disappeared. Daisy is back, and Daisy has data on states. And so if it takes some time for him to provide the municipal data, Daisy might even have municipal data because she collected some data. Just connect them to Daisy. I'm sure Daisy won't mind that they create some visualization. She might even be able to use it in her work.
Okay, no,
Yeah. And Daisy just came back yesterday, and so you guys are in the same boat, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. You know, if this becomes too little for the four of you, let's do a visualization project with our credit card data. Yeah, I would have to get you NDA, non-disclosure agreement, sign a non-disclosure agreement, but that's very good data and can do a lot of things with it. Okay? Okay, so there are. So this was financial analyst, and the other one was independence, quality of audit, the proxy. And then the other ones are visualization, municipalities, or credit card. So this is the scenario. Did I miss anyone? No, I didn't miss anyone. Okay. Next thing, what time it is? Okay, can we talk about the Kogan et al. Paper? Who has slides? You have slides? You have slides on this paper? You have slides on this paper? Yes?
Is it design and evaluation of previous data?
Design and evaluation of.
Yes.
Another one is Xinxin one. Another student who prepared for this is Xinxin.
I'm sorry, I didn't prepare well for this because I
You didn't?
have.
Can you present it or no?
Yeah, even I have
Personal
kind
issue.
of, I just realized I kind of missed some slides in them.
Okay, so you guys did enough to read it? Everyone read it? Okay, so tell me what this paper is about, and let's start. I actually have slides on it, but I don't want to show my slides. You want me to show my slides? If you're going to show my slides, give me at the break time. I'll find them in my computer and I'll show them. Okay, what else we are going to do? Remind me.
The other paper is a review of achievable auditing research. That's the paper, and you want to discuss Denise's paper and ask all of them to prepare 2 papers related to it on data.
Okay, so can someone volunteer to present the paper that you prepared, and then when we have a break, I will go and find my continuity equation slides.